My family prepared a surprise meant to humiliate me. And it happened in front of 50 silent witnesses. My father unfolded a sheet of paper and began reading praises about my sister along with a detailed list of my failures. I was seated in the first row. Every single pair of eyes slowly fixed on me. At first everyone gathered near the small stage, then the attention shifted step by step toward my chair. It was all taking place in the backyard of our suburban Ohio home. White tents fluttered in the warm afternoon wind. On the bright green lawn stood a massive cake from Costco, decorated with blue frosting letters that read "Celebrating Success." The icing shimmered under the sunlight. I had assumed it was meant for both of us. I was wearing a simple pale blue dress. My sister Emily stood beside the table in a white dress, as if she alone was the reason for this celebration. My father lifted the microphone and smiled with practiced confidence. "Today we have gathered to honor the achievements of our daughter Emily." Applause spread across the yard. I clapped too. Then he pulled out a second page. And on it there were several lessons our family still needs to learn. In that instant I understood. He was talking about me. If you have ever sat in suffocating silence while everyone judged you without hearing your truth, stay with me. He began to read. Sometimes stubbornness leads a person down unfortunate paths. Decisions made in haste can damage the reputation of an entire family. The crowd grew quiet. I folded my hands neatly on my lap. My mother sat in the front row with a faint, almost satisfied smile. My sister stood with her eyes lowered, yet the corners of her lips lifted just slightly. Then my father clearly spoke my name. Sarah left her job last year. Sarah ended her engagement. Sarah has a tendency to make difficult choices that affect all of us. Several guests nodded slowly. Someone whispered something sharp and brief. I tightened my grip on the phone, resting on my knees. I knew this moment had been planned. A week earlier my mother had said, "Be ready. Sunday will be special." I had believed it might be something kind. My father turned back toward Emily. In contrast, Emily has always made us proud. She earned her master's degree. She secured an impressive position. She has never brought shame upon this family. Applause rose again like rehearsed thunder. Emily blinked rapidly. I performed the role expected of me. I stayed silent. I did not interrupt. I simply listened. Every sentence was about me, yet framed like a cautionary tale for children. 50 people from our church community, neighbors, cousins, all watching. Then my father read the final line. "We hope that someday Sarah will learn something from her sister." No one laughed, yet on some faces appeared that gentle expression people wear when they believe they are showing sympathy but are actually passing judgment. I stood up. My legs felt steady, surprisingly strong. I did not reach for the microphone. I only said, "If you plan to read your list first, then you will listen to the whole truth." A heavy silence fell. I unlocked my phone. I played a recording I had been keeping for 3 weeks. The sound was clear. My mother's voice filled the space. "Emily, don't worry. Sarah's engagement will not last long anyway. We will ruin her reputation. We will tell everyone she is unstable." Then my father's voice followed. "We simply need to portray her as irresponsible. That way your promotion will stay the main topic." After a few seconds, Emily's voice appeared. "If she quits her job, even better. People will say she cannot commit to anything." No one moved. I let the recording continue. The next segment played. My mother again, suggesting another carefully chosen day to create a scene that would attract attention. Nothing direct, just examples. Let people draw their own conclusions. I stopped the audio. Not a word was spoken. My aunt slowly pushed her chair back. The pastor from our church lowered his eyes. Our neighbor Mark looked at his wife as if silently asking whether this had truly just happened. Emily's face turned pale. My mother stood abruptly. This is taken out of context. For the first time I took the microphone. Here is the context. You created a plan. Today was never about celebration. It was about turning me into a lesson. My father's jaw tightened. You are humiliating us. I answered evenly, no. I am following the script you wrote. I faced the crowd. I left my job because the company was corrupt. I ended my engagement because he cheated. I never damaged anyone's reputation. The silence grew dense. My mother grasped Emily's hand. Tears filled Emily's eyes, and this time they were real. No one asked about her promotion anymore. 5 relationships ended in that moment. My aunt turned to my mother and said, "We were never told the truth." The pastor refused to shake my father's hand when he approached. 2 cousins who had always defended my mother quietly slipped away without saying goodbye. And Emily's future mother-in-law, seated at the back, rose and left without a single word. I placed the microphone back on its stand. The surprise was finally over. I did not return to my chair. I walked away. Outside the house, my SUV was parked under the fading sun. I opened the door and sat behind the wheel. My hands rested calmly on the steering wheel. In the rearview mirror, I saw the house. The tents were still standing. People formed small clusters, speaking in hushed tones. No one was laughing anymore. After that day, everything changed. My father called 3 times. I did not answer. My mother sent a message to the family group chat claiming there had been a misunderstanding. No one replied. Emily's engagement collapsed 2 weeks later. Her fiancé's mother made it clear she did not want her son connected to a family that hid the truth. In our church, my father's reputation shifted. People still greeted him politely, but respect was never quite the same. I did not spread lies for revenge. I invented nothing. I simply repeated what they had already said. Now I live in a small apartment in Columbus. It is modest and sometimes lonely. But it is peaceful. I found a new job. There are fewer people in my life, yet they are honest. Sometimes I wonder what might have happened if I had stayed silent. Perhaps everything would look normal on the surface. Yet that version of normal was never meant for me. It was a world where I was always the example, and no one ever asked questions. On that day I spoke 1 sentence. I played 1 recording. 5 relationships ended. Perhaps more will fade with time. But at least now, whenever I walk into a room, I know there is no one hiding behind smiles with a secret list ready to be read aloud. And that quiet certainty is worth more than any celebration they could ever plan.